Sounds good.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to Stephen and to Alex. This is Filecoin Core Devs number 43. Today, in the US at least, is Thursday, June 2nd, and this is meeting 2 for our group. So today, as always, we'll go through brief updates from each of the implementations and then updates from the Filecoin Foundation. In particular, I want to just flag the Filecoin request for comment proposal that's live. I think this is something we are also going to need a FIP for, so just wanted to flag for the group. And also talk about some requested changes to the format of the Core Devs meeting, get everyone's feedback and ideas about this before a proposal goes up on GitHub also. And then of course we can go through the V16 and V17 network upgrades. Alex, I know you wanted to talk about some of the pending work that the protocol ops group is doing, which is great. We will have time if you want to do it today, I think, that's fine. But if you'd like, we can also dedicate like a much larger chunk of time at both meetings to going through some of your pending work in 2 weeks' time, just because there's still a lot of open questions about the version 17 network upgrade and what kind of appetite there is for a large scope.
Yeah, sure. I think making some time in 2 weeks is fine. I can be very brief today and save the detail for 2 weeks' time. There's also a few things I haven't yet written up, so it'll be good to give people time to read those proposals, to have a more useful discussion. Yeah, next time.
Okay, that sounds great. And yeah, if you want to give us like a teaser at the end, we can do that too. It's pretty informal. Great. Well, I guess we'll jump into our team updates. Forest and Lotus have been working pretty much hand in hand over the past couple of weeks on built-in actor unit tests. They've gone through hundreds of them. These are now almost all complete. I think there's maybe 15 or 20 that are outstanding. And the goal for the next 2 weeks is going to be continue to work on integration testing for those actors as well. Both teams are preparing to sync on mainnet when V16 goes live, which is great. And Forest has committed that they will be able to join the network upgrade, which is also great news because previously they were worried they would be unable to do so. Any questions that you want me to pass to either team? All right, Stephen, you want to walk us through some of your updates?
Yeah, okay. Thanks to Lotus team and Forest team's work, so we have the built-in actors available and also the FM. So the team is working on the integration. Actually, we're following up this closely. So currently we are working on the integration, the FM and building actors for network version 16 upgrade, and we plan to have this test on Butterfly network next week. This is one major things we're working on, and some other things on different modules in Venus. For example, the Venus cluster, we released version 0.30. We have done some optimization on the setting schedule and improved the CLI. While we have the new architecture of the Venus cluster, we could have some customized workers to do the poll rip, just like the plugin model. So we hope because different storage providers, they have their customized seeding programs. With this model, they could use the Velas and just plug in their seeding executor, and it will work. So this is one thing we're moving on. And also another thing is about the FM and Go FM SDK. We had dealing with the garbage collection. Now the garbage collection is fully operational, which is very good. Another small thing is about we have the Velas market to support object storage as a piece store. Before we only to support the POSIX file system, so which will provide more flexibility for storage providers. Okay. Next week we'll still moving on to have Velas testing on Butterfly. and for other things. Move on. I think that's all. Any questions?
I think that sounds great. There were no questions about any of the work that you have completed or that you're planning to do. It's great that you'll be testing on ButterflyNet next week. There was one question as teams are starting to think about what may be included in V17. The beneficiary address FIP that you authored, the Forest team wanted to know if you and your team would be able to do some of the built-in actors work necessary to implement that FIP, if it were to be included in the next upgrade.
So you mean, okay, yeah. You mean currently we are doing some integration, right, with the build actors. So you mean that we participate into the build actors development or something like this?
Not for the FVM development or any of the like after migration, but once the FVM is instituted for the next upgrade, if you would be able to make the actors changes necessary for the beneficiary address addition.
Yeah.
So basically, if you would be able to lead on sort of defining the implementation pathway for Forest and Lotus as well.
Okay, yeah, that I think that is what we could do. Yeah. Okay, I can discuss this. So it should be okay. I was saying we could discuss more about this offline. Basically, I was saying that is okay.
Sure. Yeah, it's the actual like scope of work and capacity required for it. I don't know, but wanted to flag that they were curious to know if you could help with this. So just something to think about.
Yeah, that
Great.
is no
problem. I filed an issue in the built-in actors repository, I think yesterday, and tagged you, Stephen. The work is mostly porting the implementation that your team already did in Go, which helped us flesh out the details of the proposal, porting that change to Rust so that it's in the Rust minor actor as well. And I think that's basically the scope of it.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Alex. All right. So updates from the foundation. Parth is continuing to run the bug bounty program. There's no pending security risks from our side to flag for anyone. Listed accepted FIPs, there are now 5, 4 of which are going to be integrated in V16, as we know. And then hopefully FIP 29, as mentioned, will be included in version 17, regardless of sort of the scope of the entire upgrade. Alex saw your updates and some of the merges that you pushed forward. This is great. Yeah, if you want to give us a walkthrough of some of the FIPs that you're hoping to push and sort of what timelines you're thinking about those at the next Core Devs call, then that would be fantastic. And Jennifer also mentioned, I think it's Kuba maybe, who works with you pretty closely, could potentially present at the other meeting so that people can ask questions live in both sessions if that works.
Yeah, that could work really well.
Okay, great. So I can reach out to both of you early next week, just so we can make sure it's on your calendars and Kuba can attend also. But I think that'll be really helpful for all of the team to hear all of these things together so they know what to do when thinking about, again, the size of V17.
Sounds good.
All right. So then 2 additional updates as mentioned. One is the documentation for requests for comment. Alex, thanks for reading through it and adding your suggestions. I think all of them were great, and I'm going to update the language to reflect like the sort of change in emphasis about when something is accepted. Stephen, if you haven't had a look yet, if you could, that would be great. I think the next thing to figure out is what should be required in a request for comment template. Fortunately, we have a couple of immediate use cases, both with Boost and with the advertiser index protocol, and potentially the Ask V2 protocol, but not sure yet. So we'll use those as sort of initial case studies and what's important. But the idea is that there should be standardization documentation, should be pretty lightweight. And I don't think we're going to need like full design specs the way we ask for in FIPS. So if you have any opinions or thoughts, feel free to share them here or on the GitHub post, but just wanted to flag for everyone in general that this is happening.
Yeah, okay. I have reviewed some of this the document. If I have any comments, I could comment in GitHub. Okay. Here. Basically, and I think this is a good idea is because the FIP is we will scope it only for the core development, right? The chain level, and the FRC will be on the upper level for the actors or some community consensus, something like that. That is good.
Great. Yeah, thinking about it more as, we have FIPS, we look for this kind of soft community acceptance to say that this is something we're going to implement en masse. The FRCs is more to say, hey, the entire Filecoin community is kind of organically attributing these things, or they're adopting these protocols or applications or whatever it may be. Let's standardize that adoption so that if there are, new developers, new opportunities, whatever it may be, they have a single point of reference for understanding what sort of base service looks like for new application types. So, and also things like API standardization, et cetera.
Yeah, this is all. So my understanding is that the FRC is kind of recommendation. Okay, so it's kind of standard. So the people can follow that. We hope people can follow that, but some people may submit some new standard or something like that. It's okay. It's because it will not break the consensus, right? It's still on this. Yeah,
exactly. So the FRCs are recommended, but they are also optional. So for example, if Boost were an accepted FRC, and you said that you did not want to integrate Boost, hypothetically speaking, since you are, because one, you didn't want to, or you felt like you had a different protocol you wanted to implement, whatever it may be, you wouldn't be bound to do that. It's up to you. Yeah. Any other questions?
Nope, I think it's fine.
All right. So the next thing, this came from a conversation that myself, Lee from the Forest team, and Jennifer have been having about how to make the core devs call as meaningful and useful as possible for everyone. So I think there are a bunch of challenges we have now. One is that the call is mostly implementers and Alex. Implementation teams and Alex are the only ones who consistently attend, which is great. But ideally, we would want to create an environment where we have as much participation from as many aspects of this ecosystem as are relevant. It's also true that if we implement this FRC policy or system, it asks for core devs to kind of approve what is a standard ultimately. And so it's important, I think, that we have like a clear definition of what a core dev is, but that we also incentivize people to attend and participate in these meetings. And there's a couple of different ways that we can do that. So one of the things that we've proposed is changing the meeting format to be once per month. In terms of timing, we can either still do this 2-meeting thing or alternate timing so that once every 2 months, you have to unfortunately join late at night or early in the morning, but that everyone sort of has an opportunity to join. Meetings would be a little bit longer, and we would also make the core dev role a little bit clearer. So Jennifer and I would work together to create a curated list of people who seem to be core devs. Obviously, if someone else is offering a FIP or has expertise and wants to join, they could do that, but it would just be for that one meeting. And there would be attendance requirements. So for example, if you miss 3 meetings within a period of time, you are removed from the meetings going forward to make sure that we have expectations around attendance. And the idea for this is that with sort of a stricter structure, we could sort of better prime materials and agendas in advance to make sure that everyone is on the same page, has read and reviewed FIPS, is coming to the meeting ready to sort of participate in conversations around decisions, and that the scope of conversation in general is a little bit higher order and isn't so much focused on updates and sort of administrative decisions. The goal is to get a call that allows engineers to talk about engineering problems, merely facilitated by me, rather than me leading a call where we talk mostly about things that we've already communicated amongst ourselves in Slack. And it was Lee's request, again, he's the TPM for the Forest team, that to absorb some of this, that implementers should have more frequent Scrum meetings or stand-up meetings during the week, just to make sure that they're able to make decisions together. And I think the Forest and Lotus teams have really enjoyed having stand-up meetings this week while they've been working on built-in actors testing. So I'm going to write up a proposal for this too, so that you can see it written out and kind of reflect and ask questions or make suggestions. But any immediate kind of thoughts or feelings about this?
I certainly agree with the goals that were stated. They sound like a great set of things to aim towards. It's a bit harder to judge whether any particular changes will achieve them, but I'm certainly in favor of this effort and willing, game to experiment with some things. If we do get to a call where people are more prepared and we can have some more in-depth discussion rather than exchange updates, I do think that would be more valuable.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to put together even like a brief, even if it's a more detailed agenda for everyone in advance. And what makes it difficult now is that it's hard to know who is going to attend also. But also when it's mostly implementation teams, everyone is so busy just maintaining implementations and preparing for network upgrades that it's hard to ask for additional work. So yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, and fingers crossed that some of these solutions do yield changes, but we'll have to play around with it, I think.
Okay, here, yes, and before we have this code meeting, we have some designers to join this meeting. Yeah, for example, we have the FIP. We always have the FIP authors to present the ideas and the rationale behind the FIP, something like that, which is very good. Yeah, and I'm thinking that the PL, the Product Labs, actually have a few research teams, right? Yeah, because the research teams actually studying something to overcome some challenges of the network. So I would think that if we could add one section in this meeting to let some researchers to do some presentation here, and we will to let the community know about the some directions actually the whole network want to take, right? To have some just give some ideas, or and also we have some yeah, I'm thinking about some ideas instead of only about the implementation, right? So we are more focused on the thing we are to implement perhaps in next months or next few months, but there also we may need to have some long-term plan, right? We have discussed something about this milestone or something, have longer milestone. I think with us in mind, we may need to have some researchers to join this and to to make it more clear. Well, that will be helpful. I would think that even for the implementers.
Yeah, I think those are all great points, and I think great ideas. We want representatives from research teams to join us, and the battle I fight constantly is knowing what people are doing so we can plan for it.
Right.
So if they can come and we can find a format that allows them to communicate consistently, like what is coming, that's great. And if we could, have presentations and have topics of interest, like record these meetings and put them on YouTube for a reason. And it shouldn't just be for us to watch them back. It should be like for other people to be interested in what's being discussed. So.
Right. Yeah, just like for example, for Eastern, right? We know that what's their next big step, okay? So and when will it be done? Even it could be delayed later on, but anyway, we have a target. For a little bit longer time, right?
Yeah, the kind of like technical planning stuff that should be presented in these calls, it shouldn't be decided in these calls, right? That there are more important topics to discuss. So yeah, great. All right, well, again, I'll write up the proposal. We won't make any changes, I think, until after V16, just so there's some consistency. But as always, if you have middle of the night thoughts you feel you need to share about this, or you have preferences or an idea, you can let me know and we will incorporate that as well. All right, so current network 16, no changes, everything is on track. So targeting an upgrade at the very end of June or perhaps the beginning of July. ButterflyNet, the Lotus team upgraded on June 1st, so just this week, which was ahead of their deadline of June 2nd, which is great. Forest is going to be upgrading, I believe, early next week. And then Stephen, you said a little bit after that. Because of sort of the testing requirements and all of the integration testing that still needs to happen for the actors, we're still kind of going to keep the timeline very, very tentative. But if you have specific questions or concerns, Stephen, it sounds like your team's kind of off to the races. And I know you haven't been as integrated in the actors workflow as Lotus and Forest, but feel free to kind of coordinate async. And if you have any big concerns, you can always reach out to me and I can find answers for you too.
Okay.
All right. And then, of course, I think you both already contributed, but starting the conversation about what network V17 is going to look like after V16 lands. There were two kind of proposed scopes that people were talking around. One was sort of a small community upgrade so that, implementation teams are able to like fix any bugs or offer any enhancements necessary after the new actors repo is executed. And so that way the broader Filecoin community, storage providers, et cetera, can get used to upgrading with the FVM. This would be something that would maybe include 1 or 2 small FIPS, but it would be a pretty lightweight upgrade all in all. The other suggestion is to keep doing what we're doing, which is a large, very FIP heavy upgrade, which would allow us, I think, to incorporate some of the FIPS that you and your team are working on, Alex, that we can prepare for the second FVM milestone at the end of this year. Both of these are still very much in play, but I think everyone is leaning towards the second larger, kind of FIP heavy upgrade on a longer timeline. So bleeding it out into the early fall, making sure everyone has time to do what they need and to sort of monitor the progress of V16 also. But it was sort of decided that as long as we communicate effectively about how to upgrade during V16, that a separate community upgrade may just not be the best use of time.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I have a sort of 2 sets of changes. Jennifer did approach me about that sort of first idea. And so I already had a bunch of small things and I've been working on writing up more of the small things. So I guess I took that prompt to find small changes that could go into a small, easy, low stress upgrade. But it just turns out I have lots of them. They're all easy. And so they would all be like very light. They're all targeted extremely light work for implementation teams. But if we're going to do an upgrade, I'm keen to get as many of those in as possible. And then I do also have a set of larger ones, which I was working on at the start of this year and paused while we were focused on the FVM around re-architecting towards enabling programmable storage markets on the FVM. It's probably not going to, whatever our scope is, it's probably not going to be large enough to include all of them. But maybe the first step of that, which is around reworking Phil Plus to decouple it from the markets. If we did go for a large upgrade, then that could be the sort of scope of application level change that we could aim at.
Yeah, that sounds good. And I also think the Lotus team at least made it clear that whether it be like a larger or a smaller upgrade, especially if it's larger, they're interested in sort of doing some of the refactoring problems that they've been thinking about too. So regardless of both of those lists, I think if you already have them, they're really helpful for others as they help try to make this decision also. But I think the goal is that by the end of the next core devs call, we'll have more of a direction that we're going to kind of lean into. And if you're also going to be able to present some of those bigger FIPS, you could also present some of the smaller suggestions too, if you feel so inclined. But I think it'll help people understand what we're talking about, and then we can have a tentative list of FIPS that could be included. So
cool.
Nice. All right. And as is always the case, there's a thread, so you can always share thoughts after this meeting, and they're monitored pretty closely. So someone will read your thoughts and opinions, so, and hopefully respond to them. All right, and then that's it from me. Any other issues, questions, etc., that you want to log, or Alex, if you wanted to give kind of a brief intro to some of the FIPS you're working on, you're welcome to, but you don't have to. Really up to the both of you.
Yeah, thanks. I might skip it this week. It's all happening in FIP discussions. I think I only have one more significant one to propose before I'm sort of got it all out. And then I'll try and get that sort of clear list for everyone of like the set of small ones and the set of larger ones that I can then present in detail next week. Next week I should be at my computer. Sorry, in 2 weeks' time. At my computer in a better place to present about them.
Yeah, that sounds great. Also, this may be timeline-wise, this may not make sense. It's not that big of a deal, but if you have any pending sort of changes, updates, or like newer thinking around sort of that Filecoin Plus power decoupling, let me know. I'm going to be in person at the storage provider meeting next week and also at Filecoin Plus Day, and would love to like really kind of like read and understand the proposal fully and sort of soft discuss it with some of the attendees who are there, because they'll obviously have opinions, and it'd be great to gather those in advance.
Yeah, okay. It's pity I can't attend that. Sounds good. If you want to schedule time to chat with me so that I can sort of help you have a deeper understanding of it, and then be able to represent the ideas and gather useful feedback at that event, that maybe we can do that.
Yeah, that would be great. Again, the timeline's short, so we can try and make it work, but I'll try and schedule something for Monday, maybe, if that works.
Yep, sure.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much, Alex.
Thank you.
All right, then, Stephen, unless you have anything to add, I think we're all done for today.
No, I'm okay. Thanks.
All right, well, then thank you both. It was nice to talk to you. And Alex, I'll see you soon. Stephen, I will see you at least in 2 weeks' time, if not sooner.
Okay.
Thank you both.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.